Stephen and Richard with Executive Speakers talking about one of our favorite people and hopefully one of your favorite people, Ben Nemtin. Let's talk about Ben. Ben was star of the MTV show The Buried Life.
Yes.
Also a best-selling author.
Yes.
And an all-around super guy.
He is an all-around super guy. Ben is one of the most likable guys you'll ever be around. Every client that's ever had him absolutely thinks that he's fantastic. And shoot, he's your best friend right off the bat.
Best friend.
Yes.
He has this amazing way of just making this immediate connection with people. And people want to come up and talk to him. I know afterwards he's told us so many times, I've been lines, people just coming up and shaking my hand and talking to me about their bucket list and things like that. So,
and they really want to hug him.
Yeah, they want
to give him a hug.
And Ben's a hugger, so it's okay. Ben's totally a hugger. That's fine. Ben Nemtin is fine with hugging. We'll come on, go out on the record and say that Ben Nemtin is fine with hugging.
And one of my clients, she was astounded because I think she said she got a record 4 hugs after a presentation. So it's huge.
So you've booked Ben a ton.
Bunches of times, yes.
What stands out about Ben from other speakers? What is different?
Well, there's 3 things that I think really contribute to the value of Ben.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, kind of what we were referring to earlier, Ben has this charisma about him that people are attracted to during the presentation. It's absolutely fabulous. It's a natural charisma that he has. And you know, some speakers have it and some don't.
Some don't, yeah.
And that's the first thing. Now the second thing is that his presentation works kind of like a story. Yep. It's a movie almost. It begins with stories, you have character development, and so people kind of truly enjoy the story itself because of how it flows. But then probably the most important thing to me is the subject matter of his presentation, which is having a bucket list is really what makes the biggest difference, because it resonates with everybody. Whether you're a university student, a doctor, a corporate executive, you care about what you're going to do before you die.
Yep.
And that makes a big difference.
Crosses all bounds.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Another big thing for Ben is very vulnerable on stage. He's willing to talk about his weaknesses and his struggles and his failures. And I think that's very disarming for the audience too. Because a lot of times you have speakers, they're just going to get up there and just toot their own horn and say, this is what I did this, and this. But because Ben kind of weaves in, hey, these are the struggles, this is what I went through, he's very humanizing and people can relate to that. And so I think the relatability factor with Ben is so huge.
I would agree that does soften up an audience. I think that is a great point. And what's interesting is the man's lived in LA a long time, but he still is down to earth, which makes it absolutely huge. But yes, I would agree with you on that too.
What do you think about when you talk to clients or you've gotten feedback on Ben? What's kind of the number one thing they come back with the saying it's like that you always hear consistently about Ben in his presentations?
I think that they are blown away by his presentations is probably, and it's an overall feeling. It's obviously they say that he got the highest ratings.
Yeah.
He's gotten 5s out of 5s in various places. He never gets anything lower than an extremely high rating. I doubt that he's had a presentation where he hasn't had a standing ovation. In some cases, a couple of standing ovations. But I think more than anything, they just say that everybody wants to act on this entire concept of the bucket list. In fact, I was sitting at one of his presentations, I was sitting at a table with a lady, and she said to me, I'm going to talk to my husband tonight. Tonight, both of us are working on our bucket list. But that's the thing.
Actionable takeaways.
It is actionable takeaways. People want to do this in their life, and it's not a drudgery. You know, with some of the things that people say, oh, I really need to do this when I get home from the conference that I'm at. And so they say, okay, I'll do this little action item on accountability, or I'll do whatever. People want to go home and work on their bucket list. So I think that contributes to that overall feeling of positiveness that people get from his presentations.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. One of the things about Ben's presentation, he uses video very well. Yes, you and I talk about it all the time. Sometimes video is great, but it can also be a very big enemy to a good presentation.
Yes, absolutely.
Ben's stories, playing basketball with Obama, getting a girl a bionic hand, helping this guy bring pizzas to a homeless shelter.
Yes.
I mean, you've seen it. How does he weave those videos in so well?
It's beautiful. He makes it, he and the videos are just part of the same timeline almost. It's a connection that he takes through the whole thing. And I think he doesn't interfere with the content of the video, but yet he adds something to it as it goes along, and he fills in the story so it's almost like you could be watching all this on video, or you could be hearing him say the whole thing. It's just a continuity that he brings through the whole presentation. And I will tell you, I've seen him do it a number of times, and I end up going through all the emotions every time. I laugh with the funny things that he talks about and some of the things that he and his buddies did. And then I'm unbelievably touched, especially about the story of Tori with her arm, because you know how powerful that is in her life. And the fact that her friends were the ones that had it on their bucket list to get her the arm. Oh my gosh, I get chills every time I think about that story. It really is.
It's an amazing story. Okay, we're going to wrap this up, so we'll do a little rapid fire. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you a different category. You're going to give me like a quick 2 minute, two sentences on how to sell Ben to him, okay?
Okay.
So you ready?
Yes.
Okay, healthcare. How do you sell Ben to healthcare?
Healthcare is pretty easy. Basically, everybody within healthcare needs that needs a little bit of that feel good, that little bit of that inspiration that goes with it. But he has at the beginning of his presentation the piece about mental health. And mental health is one of the top categories right now in healthcare. People, it's one of the 5 things that everybody asks me about for healthcare events. So the fact that, and it goes back to the vulnerability that we talked about with Ben, that's one of the things he becomes vulnerable about early in the presentation is the whole mental health piece. That allows them to feel comfortable, and then they can take the rest of the presentation in. But I think it's that mental health piece that's huge with him in the healthcare. But many of the healthcare organizations need an inspirational presenter somewhere around the content, and Ben having a little bit of that tie, but a huge amount of inspiration is huge for healthcare.
All right, what about universities?
Okay, universities, it's absolutely fabulous because the university students, which are going to be a lot of those attendees, those university people, they are looking to have goals and objectives in your life. And really what you're doing when you're setting your bucket list is setting your goals and your objectives and your priorities, and it's just a natural way for him to lead those students through there. He does such a fabulous job and is doing a fabulous job with fraternity organizations, with university organizations in general. He is
commencement address at the University of Utah.
Yes, his commencement address, which was absolutely fabulous. I was very proud of him for that. I got to tell you, in commencements, if you want a guy for a commencement, he is perfect because he can do this. You know, commencement's a short address. You got to be able to do it in a short amount of time.
You got to pack a powerful punch.
And he can do that. At 18 to 20 minutes, it's just as solid as his 60 to 75 minutes. Not everybody can do that. A lot of people, it seems like, oh, this is just a short presentation. I didn't get the whole thing. You get the whole thing with Ben.
Last one, corporate audiences. Watch the corporate audiences book Ben.
Okay, corporate audiences, it's more of a focus of, I think it's going to enter more into the HR area where you're talking about how do you help your employees? How do you make your employees more effective? But more importantly, how do you make them happier and more satisfied with being in that environment? The best way to do that is to work with them on their bucket list, set their priorities, and as a result, allow them to feel like they've got skin in the game and have control over their lives with the corporate audience. And I'll tell you what, if you allow that to occur, it's going to be a great presentation. And that's the best way to push them, is to really get them to focus in that area. Corporate culture, employee engagement, it's huge for that.
Huge. All right, Richard, good job. You're off the hot seat.
I love it. I love it.
Hey, to book Ben Nemtin, give us a call at Executive Speakers Bureau. He is amazing. You will not regret him. If you have questions, give us a holler. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks.